Good day. This is Comics of the Voice. Today, I'm going to talk about this. Stay tuned. Hello everybody, The Voice is here, and today I'm going to do a bit of a review, talk about NYX. It's a 7-issue series, Marvel Comics. I have all 7. Actually, I used to just have 6 for the longest time until I met this dude, Gary B, the casual comic guy. I'm going to try to remember this time to put his link in the description for this video, if I remember. See, I'm getting smarter. I talked about that in the intro video. Mistakes will be made, things will evolve, and I will get better. I sent Gary B an AOK. It was Conan #1, Jim Zub. He was at the fan expo that I was attending. I got a #1 A cover, and I had him do a little blurb on there and then put something on the back, because Gary B has been cited on the back of that book. And I sent it off because I thought, that's really cool. I know it's near and dear to his heart. I just met the guy, but I thought, hey, this is awesome. I've been getting AOKs from other people in the comic book community. So he asked me, some of the stuff that I liked. I don't know how he found out that I was looking for this book. I might have mentioned it on a broadcast or something and he picked up on it. But I told him I liked the Mad stuff, and he found this Don Martin book and a couple of digests, which are freaking awesome to have. I love those books. They're down in my collection. But as I was going through everything, there was a weird mystery book that he'd put a cover over, so I had no idea what it was until I pulled it out. And I dropped the video about my genuine reaction as I opened it up, because I was videoing it as I was opening that package up. So what you see there is the first time I saw it, not a recreation. So I was stunned, shocked, and I just sat there for a little bit because I was trying to digest what the hell I was looking at, because this is not a cheap book. I've been looking for this in a high grade as a graded book, but as you know, I have graded books, but I also like my raw books too, because I want to read the stories. So I was talking with Gary the other day on the 1011 show that he does, and he's like, I was telling him that I was doing the Eternals review, and he goes, oh, you should do a review on the NYX. He goes, have you even read it yet? And I said, you know what? No, I haven't read it yet. I've read all of these, and I know the story because in each issue, they kind of give you a recap on the first page of what happened in the previous issue. So when I read 1 and 2, and I skipped over to #4, I never read 3 because, pain in the butt to get this. First appearance of X-23, Laura Kinney, clone of Wolverine. Second appearance, third appearance, fourth appearance, fifth appearance, because she's in all of them after that. But just an incredible AOK. Yeah, it's a mid to low grade, but who cares? Like, for Gary to do something like that is just incredible. So he says, do a review on this. And I said, okay, why not? It's actually not a bad story. It's a little slow at the start when you first look at the cover on issue 1 and you're trying to figure out, you're like, what the hell is this thing? So it's all about mutants. But at the time, the kids don't know that they're mutants. It's like what we've seen in the Marvel movies where their powers are not obvious until some kind of traumatic thing can happen to them, like in the Deadpool movie, where they were trying to force their mutant abilities to pop out. So that's the case with the girl on the cover here. Her name is Kidden, and her father was a cop, and she was a little girl, and she witnessed their cop in a gangland shooting, getting shot on the street right in front of her, and that activated her powers, but she didn't really know it at the times. But she's a mutant. And what her ability is she can stop time. And she doesn't manifest that power until she's a teenager and gets into a really messed up, stressful situation at the school. And that's, she's a troubled teenager now, so drugs, partying all night, lying, stealing, all that good stuff, right? She's right into that. And how this thing rolls is she gets into a fight. What's the name of the guy that Hector. I think it's Hector. Hector Morales, of all names. Yep, Hector Morales. She gets into a fight with him at the school. And she manages to figure out she can stop time, because she gets into an altercation. And when she stops time, for her to be able to start time up, she has to touch another person. So she touches his arm, which breaks his arm, and it starts time back up. And then, of course, he's got a busted arm, and now he's got a grudge against her because he wants to get back at her. And, of course, she's running into and meeting other people. Her dead father keeps coming to her as like a ghost and trying to guide her along. So I'll put that one there. I'll go into number 2, where it just continues on. So this one, it gets more intense now, right? Because Hector is out for blood. And the school they go to, they're in an inner city, so they have metal detectors to get into the school. And he smuggles a gun into the school. So he's like, okay, we're going to escalate this to I'm going to shoot her ass. So, of course, he pulls the gun out in the hallway and goes to shoot her, and she stops time. But she has a teacher named Cameron who's always been trying to help her out all through the years in the school, guidance counselors, principals. But Cameron's been the one that's really tried to help her. So she was coming out behind her. And I guess Hector had the gun, he shot. The bullet was coming out, and she managed to stop time just as the bullet's right in front of her, and she stepped out of the way. And then when she turned time back on, the bullet was still traveling, and it shot the teacher, and the teacher was down. So, of course, more trauma now, right? So, the teacher, they fast forward at the end of this book like 6 months later, because then Kindon disappears. She ends up stopping time for like X number of months and months. And she was living in between time, not touching anybody. And the weird thing is when she does that, time will still creep forward very slowly, but it'll be like months and months for her, but it'll be like 1 or 2 days for everybody else. And she doesn't get hungry or have to drink, which is kind of wild. So her father comes to her in a dream and tells her that her teacher is going to commit suicide because, she has problems after she got shot. She's got the trauma from being shot. She's recovering, but then she tries to kill herself. And then Kindon comes to her apartment just as she's in the bathtub full of blood and she's passed out, and she rescues her. So then we got this lovely issue. First appearance of X-23. So it's just in a weird thing, but it ends up tying in. So Laura, of all weird things, is a prostitute, and she's got a weird clientele, ones that like to hurt her, and they like to be hurt by her. So she's got this one John that keeps coming back, and I guess he gets a little rough at some point, and her Kindon's father tells her to go find her because she's in trouble. And her and Cameron show up at the hotel where she's doing her thing, and they find that this John is dead, and everything looks like that she killed him. But at the end of the day, it didn't. He killed himself, but she didn't end up actually killing him. So they rescue Laura, basically, and she comes with them. But, of course, the pimp doesn't want to lose his property, so he comes chasing after them. And he can't find where they are, so he ends up getting another character involved, a guy called Zebra Daddy, which is this guy who has powers that he can basically go out of his own body and take over someone else's body and make them do whatever he wants. But actually it's funny because it turns out I think it's his autistic brother who has like mind powers like Charles Xavier. And that's funny, in the first one they actually made mention of Charles Xavier in the school that Kindon was going to. Am I saying it right? Kidden. Kidden. K-I-D-E-N. Kidden. Okay, we'll call it Kidden. Yeah, they made mention of it in the first issue that they had to do an essay on something by Charles Xavier, which I thought was cool. So they kind of threw that X-Men thing into it. So the pimp wants to find the girls and get her back. So he gets this guy to try to hunt them down. And of course, you know, there's other people that are showing up in this. There's another girl that shows up that becomes part of the group. Tatiana. She's got weird powers that manifested in school. Of course, she would, there was a dog that got, there she is on the cover there. She was on her way to school and a dog got hit by a car and there was blood everywhere and the blood touched her. And whatever animal blood gets on her, she turns into that animal. She takes on that persona. So in school, she turned into what looked like a werewolf. And of course, everybody in the class started freaking out. And then they all, humans, you get scared. What do you do with a mutant? Kill it. So they're chasing after her outside, down the street, into an alleyway. And then she fully turns into this big, huge, massive black werewolf thing. And they all run away. And she's like ready to rend and destroy. And Laura, X-23, comes down the alleyway because, of course, she's with Kidden. See, it sounds like kitten, but Kidden. Just sounds weird. So Kidden, her father, the ghost, is telling her when there's problems with other mutants and how to go help them. He's giving her advice. So Laura walks down the alleyway and basically says, "Hey, how you doing?" She wasn't afraid of her. So that was pretty cool. So Laura's learning to possibly be a superhero. So this is the image of the Zebra Daddy guy when he took over this girl's body. And I guess he worked like an assassin or whatever for this pimp, and he was getting money to try and get him and his autistic brother the hell out of the city. So to make this last deal, the pimp gets hold of him and says, "Look, find these girls and I'll give you X number of money and you can get the hell out of town." And it turns out that his brother is really controlling him. The autistic brother is taking over him, and then he goes out and does stuff. So he's living through his brother because his brother comes back and has no memory of what the hell he did and where he got the money and all that stuff that's going on. So interesting. And it carries on into the final issue where the big battle where the Zebra Daddy lets the pimp know where the girls are. He sends his little goon squad to go attack them. And then all hell breaks loose. And then the ghost of Kidden's, her dad, is telling her just to walk away from it all. Right? Because the goon squad there has got hold of Cameron. They're going to kill her. They're going to take X-23 back and the whole bit. And she says, "No way, enough. She's not going to walk away from this anymore." So she steps in. And the ghost, the dad, talks to the autistic boy directly, which is weird because he was only talking to her and she had only manifested him in her dreams. And then he started showing up in the waking world, and he goes and talks to the autistic kid and basically gets him to get his brother to save the day. And then she finds out after she stops time again. So, you know, the bad guys are shooting and everything. And she takes a good look at the pimp and realizes that the pimp is her killer of her dad. So she just goes into an absolute rage. And while time is stopped, she punches him as hard as she can in the face because she has no idea what it's going to do. Just a touch broke a dude's arm. So imagine what her full punch. And it's just a mess at the end. And that's how they end the thing. So now we've got a group of young mutants that carry on into the world, which I thought was pretty wild. If they had a follow-up to this, I don't know what it is because I never chased it down, but I thought, hey, that's pretty cool. Ooh, that's got some messed up glare. But the more important one, again, back to number 3, thanks to Gary B. And he wrote me a little letter, which will stay in the back. And I also increased the value of the book by putting Keepers of the Cash. That's just the little notes and everything for the actual series, which I didn't even read because I know the story. but it's good to have those on the back because this thing will sit for who knows how long before I ever go through and read it again. But interesting story. I thought it was pretty cool. A little bit of a slow burn. The artwork on the covers could have been a little bit better, but the inside art's pretty good on these. So there you go, Gary B. That's my take on NYX. Good series. So happy to have this one in the collection. Thanks, Gary. You're the best, man. And I'll see you guys on the next one.